Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Bob, and welcome to Modern Life for the 70s Mind. Today I am doing something completely different, which I'm kind of excited about. I hope you like it. I think it's going to be fun. But before I do that, I'm gonna make you wait, kind of like a newscast. Kind of throw the teaser out there. Before I do that, like I always do, I want to kind of I don't want to say reminisce a little bit, but kind of show you something that I came up with that I've had for years that came out of the 70s. Last video I shot, I think I did something really old from like the 1880s. So I'll try to keep it slightly more current than that. And I'm going to show you what I think a lot of people had. I was surprised my wife hadn't seen one of these before, but she's a little younger than me, so she must have missed out. We went through a stage where we had a lot of 8-track tape players, and eventually people started switching over to cassettes. That was kind of an awkward stage for me because my car was completely decked out with an 8-track player. It was a 72 Chevelle. It was a great car. I would give anything to have that car back. It was like a hunter green Chevelle. I loved it. Um, Anyways, so I had an 8-track tape player. And what happened was eventually cassettes started becoming more popular. And even though I was a little bit behind the curve on switching over to cassettes, I eventually did. And that created a problem because I didn't have a cassette player in my car. So I went to my local Radio Shack store and bought what probably a bunch of you people would have purchased as well growing up in that era. And that is a cassette adapter. As you can see, the top part of this looks pretty much like an 8-track tape, which it basically is. But then in the front of it, the part that would stick out the front was a cassette player. So what you would do, you would take a tape. I have my cassette of Dreamboat Annie, one of my favorite albums of all time. And you would put the tape just like a normal cassette player. Hopefully it still works. Okay, there. And then you would just take this entire thing and stick it in the 8-track tape. Sometimes the weight was an issue, and I'd have to wedge like something in there to keep it right so that the heads would line up properly. But you would turn this thing on, and lo and behold, it would play cassette tapes through your 8-track player. It was a little awkward, a little bulky, and I know I had one earlier on that didn't play evenly. It was kind of like, so I don't know if the motor or whatever it was that was in there wasn't working right, but this one actually worked quite well, and I still have it to this day. So this thing had a lot of use back in the 70s for me, so it was kind of fun. I just found that interesting. I came across it and thought I might share it with you to kind of reminisce a little bit. Okay, now why we're here. Starting probably around 1972, 73, and ending in the early 80s, there was a show on TV called The Midnight Special. It came on right after the Johnny Carson show on Friday nights. It ran, I think, for like an hour or an hour and a half, so it was a pretty long show. And what made the Midnight Special special is that there was nearly no lip syncing. It was pretty much all live acts, even though I think almost all of them were recorded, but they were live acts and they weren't lip syncing. It turns out that shows like this really documented music, and not just rock music, all different genres from the 70s. And I think without this type of show, we wouldn't have a lot of the recordings that we had back then. The Midnight Special had really the who's who of stars. I actually made a small list here of just a small sample of the people who were on the show. Bowie, Spinners, Aretha Franklin, Paul McCartney, Foghat, James Brown, AC/DC, The Kinks, Joe Walsh, Aerosmith, Fleetwood Mac, Santana, Journey. And this is a small sample, but I think you kind of get the picture of what I'm saying, is that the show was packed with talent. And being now 2022, to look back is like, wow, that was really pretty amazing, the list of people that appeared on that show. It was huge. And it was nothing like that I ever recall seeing. The show was hosted by Wolfman Jack. I don't know if you remember him. I think Briefly, it might have been also hosted by Helen Reddy, but I think that was at the end before the show canceled. But Wolfman Jack was the main host. I liked him. I know the what band was it came out with the song "Clap for the Wolfman." It might have been the Guess Who. I'm thinking, or I don't think it was Brad. No, I think it was the Guess Who. Um, so he was a pretty popular guy. He was well known. I think he was a DJ at some station, probably in New York or California. I don't know where. But at the same time that Midnight Special was going on, there was also another show called Don Kirshner's Rock Concert that ran pretty much concurrently with Midnight Special. I really didn't watch the other one because I was so into Midnight Special, and so I can't tell you a lot about Don Kirshner, except for the fact that I think he ran about the same time than Midnight Special did. So take me back to the 70s. I really didn't hang out with a lot of girls in the 70s. I was kind of a loner. Here, I'll show you why. This is why I didn't hang out with a lot of girls in the 70s. There. So, how's that for a look? Gotta love the hair. That's enough of that. So, because of that, I spent a lot of nights at home watching quality shows, like, I mean, really quality shows that'll go down in history, like Three's Company, Eight is Enough, Love Boat, Charlie's Angels, Fantasy Island. I'm kidding, those were horrible shows, but I did watch them. But you know what? In thinking about it, there were some really good shows. There was All in the Family, which I really liked. I thought that was so unique at the time. Of course, there was MASH. There was Saturday Night Live, which had just come out, which is kind of cool. Sanford and Son, Carol Burnett, and my favorite of all time, The Partridge Family. Anyways, it was Lori. That's why I watched it. Anyways, I spent a lot of time in front of the tube, and I fell in love with the Midnight Special show. It had such wonderful memories for me, even while it was going on. I remember just laying around thinking, wow, that was a really good show. You got to remember, at the time that was going on, that was so unique because there was no internet. There was no YouTube to go look at videos. There weren't cell phones you could check. And you just didn't get exposed to a lot of the stuff that you almost take for granted today. So it's just wonderful, all the opportunities we had with Midnight Special to see things that you just didn't ever get to see. So, for lack of a better word, Midnight Special was special. It was great. So, I thought I would do a reaction to one of the band's appearances on the show. And for me, that was an easy decision because one I remember seeing was Linda Ronstadt. I don't think I saw the episode. We're going back 50 years, so it's possible I did, but I don't recall seeing this. And the song is When Will I Be Loved? When I found the clip, I realized it was only 2 minutes long, which would make for a very, very short reaction video. So I thought, okay, what else is one of my favorite songs? And there was one, I don't even know if it was all that popular. I think it made it to the top 10 by Redbone. Come and Get Your Love. So I think I'm going to do both of them. I'm going to start out with Linda, do a quick reaction on her because these are live cuts. I haven't seen them. And then I'll do one on Redbone real quick. So we're going to mix it up a little bit here today. So this should be fun. So let me get the first one set up and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Okay, like I said, this is going to be a song from Linda Ronstadt. It was recorded on Midnight Special in 1975, and the song is When Will I Be Loved, which I just thought was always a really fun song. She was really, truly a legend in music. Her library of songs is vast, to say the least. I had even on my phone put together like a bunch of MP3s of her greatest hits, if you will. And I think it's at least 50 songs. And those are all quality songs. It's not like one or two with a bunch of fillers. They were all really good songs. I mean, her songs like Blue Bayou, Hurt So Bad, Long, Long Time, You're No Good. All those were really great songs that to this day, I enjoy listening to them. My favorite, though, and it might be one you guys maybe haven't even really heard of, is called Blowing Away. It highlights her voice, her strong voice, just wonderfully. I'll actually, you know what to do when I post this video? I'm going to put a link to her copy of Blowing Away. And if you're interested in hearing it, my favorite Linda Ronstadt song, go ahead and click that link and listen to it. I think you'll like it. It's really highlights her voice. One of my favorite female artists of all times, hands down. So this is from Midnight Special. It was from 1975. Let's give it a shot and see what it sounds like. Here we go. Oh. Okay, just really quick before we even get going in this, I want to play that again. You can hear when she's singing pretty strong, and then when she says mistreated, you can hear how just in that one word, she goes from singing it pretty strong to almost toning it down to like a really beautiful sound. We'll play that, and I'll keep going after that. I won't keep interrupting. Sorry, I just like how she did that. This is fun. I like this. Oh, that just brings me back. It took me, I would guess, 40 years of solid therapy to get over my undying love for Linda Ronstadt. It worked. I finally got over it, but now seeing her and hearing her just basically threw all that therapy into garbage, and I'm right back where I started from. Willie Nelson, this is something he had said that I've remembered for years. He once said there's two types of men. One, people who are seriously crushing on Linda Ronstadt, and the other type of people are people that have never heard of her. So basically, if you've heard of her, you're in love with her. For me, the dark hair, the dark eyes, she had me at the first song I ever heard. Unfortunately, I was a weak male at the time, and she wasn't the only one. I think I had fallen in love with Olivia Newton-John at one point, Stevie Nicks, maybe even a little Carly Simon in there. I'm kind of a sad case, I guess. But anyways, let's keep going. Enough of my issues. Damn, we were cool in the 70s. girl had some serious pipes on her. Just for the record, I'm not drinking beer. This is actually ginger beer. I like Moscow Mules a lot, and I actually this brand of ginger beer, this Bundaberg, is really good. But anyways, I'm not promoting. I'm just telling you. The 70s were great, but I think it's singers and talent like Linda Ronstadt that really made them the best in my hands. The harmonizing in that video is fantastic. Listening to that, and remember, this is a live recording, it sounds, except for some minor differences, I had to listen a little bit, except for some minor differences, this sounded just like the studio version. Based on that, I'm all but convinced that when they recorded this song in the studio, they probably did it on 1 or 2 takes at the most. They're that talented. The band really seems like they were tight. Seeing this, it's very sad to hear how Parkinson's has stolen her voice over the years, because her talent was through the roof. But it's clips like this that I guess that keeps her voice alive, and her sound will never be forgotten. So just wonderful memories. All right, so that's one. I hope you enjoyed that. One of my favorite singers of all time is Linda Ronstadt, so I was happy to do this. All right, so let me cue up the other one, and I will be right back. And I'm back. Okay, this next video from the Midnight Special show, part 2, is from a band called Redbone. I know this song because I used to sing to it all the time. I just like the overall, the sound, the feel, and the style of the song. So it was one that whenever I heard it on the radio, I was all over. I just loved it. So let's just go into it. I really don't know a lot about the band. I know a little bit, but we can talk about that in a second. And let's go and see how they sound from the Midnight Special. Am I the only one that didn't know that Redbone was a Native American band? I had no idea. I didn't know that. Their music didn't really relay that. I never caught that. So, man, I don't know if I know of any other Native American bands out there that I can think of. If you know of any, let me know in the comments below, because I just can't think of any off the top of my head. So anyways, interesting. I love the beginning. Let's go. Pretty cool. That's an awesome beginning. I love that. Wow, that was fun. How was that for a great beginning? So unique. And like I said, I had no idea they were a Native American band. Um, Now that I see that, it reminds me so much when I was younger. I used to go, I'm from the Chicago area, and we used to drive up to Wisconsin Dells. I think right now Wisconsin Dells is all like water parks and stuff. It's huge. But back then in the 70s, they had more of like a Wild West theme to it where there were forts and everything. And I remember that at night you could go to these, I think they were up in the rocks or something, and the Native Americans would put on like the show with a lot of their traditional dress, a lot of their traditional music, and I remember just being mesmerized by it because there were older people, and then there were really young kids doing the same thing, and I loved how all the generations were accepting this culture, and it was just so much fun to see. I remember I brought home after those trips, I would always bring back moccasins or arrowheads or something, just because I thought they were like so cool. Um, I know very little about this band. I know there two of them are brothers. I couldn't tell you which two. Looks like there's four people in the band. I don't really know their names. I believe this was their only hit. I don't know of any. There might have been other hits overseas that were popular but didn't really make it in the States. Um, I like the fact that all the members are singing. You don't see that a lot in bands where everyone sings. I can think of, well, we got the Beatles. Obviously, everybody's singing the Beatles. Maybe Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I think everyone. I don't know. Maybe you guys have some thoughts. Cream. I think everyone's in Cream. I think everyone pretty much sang. But other than that, you don't see a lot of bands where everyone is singing. Although they're not necessarily in the lead, but it's nice to see everybody with a microphone. To me, it just kind of brings everything together. Okay, let's keep going. Very interesting, and I wonder if you recognize the song. Like I said, it was one of my favorites. Here we go. All right, so let's pause before they. Looks like they're going to go into the bridge. Um, Loving the stash on the guy in the blue. It's just he's pulling it off. It's nothing I could pull off, but it looks good on him. You gotta love the '70s feel to this. You just can't recreate something like that nowadays. Really special moments in time, I think. People back then had a different mindset, if you will. And believe it or not, I think these guys sound pretty good for this being an old, probably not a really high quality '70s recording. The overall feel, I think, is good. I think the band seems like they're pretty tight, like they're having fun, and that's always a big plus for me. And I was happy that they sounded decent because if you went to a lot of concerts, I assume you would remember that you'd go to some shows and you hear the artists live and they just don't sound as good. Whether their voice isn't as good or they just change the songs up so much that they just, one, don't sound the same, and two, just don't sound good. The only exception to that would be, I think, Eric Clapton. I saw Eric Clapton, and he did change up. Well, in later on, he changed up Cocaine and Layla. both of those changes in the songs, even though I love the originals, the changes were great, and I think that actually made the song better. But my point being, it's nice that they sound a lot like the studio version because it makes you enjoy the music a little bit more. Anyways, okay, here we go. We need more cowbell. He's getting down. Woo! I don't know about you guys, but that is just so awesome. I couldn't stop that. It was just so good. I kind of got into it. And if I had some, I was looking at the monitor here. If I had some stupid grin on my face, I apologize. It's just that it takes me back, and I just really like it. Uh, Great performance. The vocals, I think, were really good and really fun. The band sounded good. They look good. And it's performances like this and so many others. They really made Midnight Special something that will be, at least in my mind, remembered forever. So, all right, I hope you like that. Let me shut this off. Let me get these headphones off, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Boy, that Redbone clip was amazing. I love the beginning of it. I had never seen anything like that. It kind of left me wanting to hear some more. And then how they went from that into the drums, that was pretty cool. But you know what? It's music like this and the Linda Ronstadt clip that really made Midnight Special and even Don Kirshner's rock concert so important in documenting the music history of the 70s. And like I said before, it was all genres. It wasn't just rock. Um, it was also that it was recorded live, which was so unique for the time. You just never really saw that. Um, because of that, I think these bands and the singers really kind of put themselves out there. Um, there was no hiding behind a recording, if you will. Not like today. I think today's music, and I'm not trying to rip today's music, but I just think this was better. But today's music all seems about production and promotion. It just doesn't feel as genuine as this music. Even the few clips you could see in that last video, some of the crowd, they were like really into it, really accepting of the newer type of music that you don't normally hear. And it was just really a wonderful watch. I really liked it. So it does have a way to bring back, at least for a couple minutes, if you will, some amazing moments of music. And it's always good to stimulate our memories like that a little bit. Both of these views, or both of these clips that we viewed were really great examples of the music that was being put out at the time. There's music today that just doesn't come across like this does. And seeing these videos to me is just like a little snapshot in history, and it's like I said before, it's nice to relive the moments. All right, not to rehash everything, but I just thought it was great, and it's just brings me back to a time that I enjoyed so much. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you find it in you, please click the thumbs up button below. If you would subscribe to my channel, that would be awesome, and if you can share this video, that would be great. I hope you liked me going over this midnight special things. If I get a good response, maybe we'll do a couple more in the future, because it's just something a little different. Okay, guys, peace out. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.